Okay, so in this video here, we're going to do the guided viewing of the next installment of the story for Liaison. And as you can see, I've accessed my video library. I clicked on Chapitre 3, okay? And I'm going to put on my French subtitles. And so in this video, we're going to be looking for evidences of what we see in Partie 1. So maybe some nationalities or some names of countries, and how they use prepositions such as to go to a country or live in a country, things like that, or to be from a country, state, province, city. And then we'll also be looking at ways that we see the verbs venir or devenir, and then maybe peut-être, venir plus the infinitive, venir de plus the infinitive. So it's probably good for you to go ahead and do, as always, the previewing activities before you view this with me, and then also to follow along in your book as we look at the different parts of the video. And as always as well, you have the script of the video posted in BlazeView. So let's get started. So here we see Claire. She's getting off the subway. She's our main character, and that's the envelope that she got from the mysterious man. And here we see, just as a review, that use of the verb aller, ça va, okay? Ça va, meaning, how's it going?
T'as faim? Hein? Viens, on va aller manger.
And then again, another use of that, on va aller, we are going to go to eat.
C'est bon ça.
So here we see that she has an invitation or a notification of an invitation with her name, so nom de l'invité. And we can kind of use these cognates. A lot of these are cognates. Nom looks almost exactly like the word name in English, and we can see that it's her name there, so that makes sense. So the person who's invited, that's her. And then we see date d'arrivée, le 14 novembre, date de départ, le 16 novembre. So we can see that she's supposed to arrive on the 14th of November and then leave on the 16th of November. And it's at this place called Fermont le Château Frontenac. Le Château Frontenac is a very famous place in Quebec. And here, again, we can sort of think outside of the box a little bit. Payer looks a lot, we can see the verb pay in there. So we can say, okay, that probably means pay or paid. And then it says au complet, and this looks a lot like complete. So our best guess there, if we're just working from our hypotheses, would be to say that it's paid in completion, like it's all paid for.
Oui, bonjour. Je m'appelle Claire Gagné. Vous avez une réservation à mon nom?
So here she's asking if they have une réservation à son nom. So in my name, and in the later episodes, we'll talk about these possessive adjectives, my, yours, his, hers. Okay, so, but this is fairly easy for us to decipher that what she's calling them to ask about this reservation, une réservation.
Cette fin de semaine?
So cette fin de semaine, semaine, ça veut dire week, okay? So we can see here that it's the end of this week, so it's rather close.
Oui, samedi et dimanche. Qui a fait la réservation, s'il vous plaît?
And so here we can see we've talked about the verb faire, and this is the past tense of that. So to make or to do would be made or did. So the word qui means who. So who made la réservation?
Ok, merci. Qui ferait une réservation pour moi? Et pourquoi?
So again, she's asking, obviously she didn't know from their answer. So again, she's asking qui, and then pourquoi, why.
Émile, où es-tu? C'est bizarre, Émile. Quelqu'un a fait une réservation à mon nom. Une réservation pour Québec. Je devrais y aller ou pas? Émile?
So she's wondering if she should go.
Allô?
Claire,
Oui?
Claire, c'est ton oncle, Michel.
So again, we're going to learn about these possessive adjectives, but that's meaning your, and then this is a cognate, your uncle.
Michel, pardon, je dormais, je n'ai pas reconnu ta voix.
Claire, écoute, tu dois aller à Québec.
So here he's telling her, listen, you must go. So tu dois aller. It's necessary for you to go à Québec. And this is a good example of some of the prepositions that we were talking about in our lesson this week. Quebec, in this instance, is a city. And so we always would use à with cities. If we're saying we want to go at, to, or in a city, we're going to use à.
Comment?
Tu dois aller à Québec.
Oui, mais
Pas le temps de t'expliquer. Il faut que tu ailles à Québec.
So he's saying here he doesn't have the time to explain, but just again insisting that il faut aller à Québec. C'est nécessaire d'aller à Québec.
pourquoi? Qu'est-ce qui se passe?
And so again, she's asking why, and this is a great sentence to just learn as a vocabulary word. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Qu'est-ce qui se passe? What's going on? And it doesn't have to be used in a situation like this. It can just be used in everyday conversation. Qu'est-ce qui se passe?
Va à Québec, Claire, pour la famille.
So encore va à Québec. So again, we see that preposition à. Va à Québec. Go to Quebec. Pour la famille. So, and we're going to talk about in our next lesson, families.
Michel? Michel?
Vous êtes bien sur le répondeur automatique de Michel.
So, voilà, ici, elle écoute le message de Michel, le répondeur automatique. So if we think about that, we think about what those words kind of look like. In English, an automatic responder. So that would be like an answering machine.
À la tonalité, vous pouvez laisser un message.
Michel? C'est Claire, tu es là? Michel? Ah bien, c'est décidé. Je pars pour Québec.
So here we see a little bit different usage with the city. In this case, she is talking about leaving for Quebec, and in that instance, we would use the word pour, but usually you're going to use that preposition à.
T'es folle.
Attention, un moment.
Ah bien, c'est peut-être une aventure. Une aventure.
On va rejouer un peu.
Vous êtes bien sur le répondeur automatique de Michel. À la totalité, vous pouvez laisser un message.
Michel? C'est Claire, tu es là? Michel? Ah bien, c'est décidé. Je pars pour Québec. T'es folle. Ah bien, c'est peut-être une aventure.
So she's saying, Abia is saying t'es folle, and you can see there that they made a contraction with tu and a, and although that's not grammatically correct, it's what you'll hear a lot of times, sort of a slang. And so Abia, she's telling her friend Abia that c'est peut-être une aventure.
Une aventure. Un homme arrive, un homme que tu ne connais pas. Il te fait une réservation pour le Frontenac à Québec. Et tu ne sais pas qui paie la réservation.
So she's trying to detail for her the strange circumstances. So a man arrives, un homme arrive, okay, et tu ne le connais pas, you don't know him, okay, and you don't know who paid la réservation.
Non? Et tu vas y aller. Oui. Claire, cet homme qui te fait la réservation, c'est peut-être un meurtrier, un psychopathe.
So here you can see Abia is clearly worried that this man that made the reservation is some kind of dangerous person, un meurtrier, un murderer, or un psychopathe.
Ne dramatise pas, Abby. Et n'oublie pas que mon oncle Michel a téléphoné ce matin.
Okay, so encore, she mentions son oncle Michel.
Ok, Robert. On arrive. Claire, tu es sûre de ta décision? Oui. Et tu ne vas pas changer d'avis?
So she's just asking her over and over, are you sure about your decision? You're not going to change your mind.
Non. Tu veux bien garder Émile pour moi cette fin de semaine? Bien sûr. Ne t'inquiète pas. Tout va bien se passer. Bon. Mais fais attention, hein?
We remember that faire attention meaning pay attention, look out, be careful.
Bien sûr. Tu es certaine que tu ne veux pas être... Ah bien, mais je veux dire Claire. Voici votre clé, madame. Le numéro de votre chambre est le 1422. Les ascenseurs sont là-bas. Vous désirez autre chose? Non, merci. Bonsoir.
And so from that exchange, we can get a lot from what we know from the context of that. You can probably think back, what happens when you check into a hotel? She's handing her her key. She's telling her where the room is, where the elevators are. So even if you didn't know what some of those vocabulary words were, you can oftentimes use a context to figure out in general what's going on. And then that's why we watch the movies over and over, because then once you've figured it out in general, then you can come back and say, okay, now I'm going to identify what that word ascenseur is, for example, and I'm going to identify that that means elevator, because I know the general context now. So I can start to get a little bit more specific every time. And that's a good approach for viewing videos or reading texts in a foreign language.
Bonsoir.
So there's a strange man again.
Claire, il est déjà 18h. Pardon, je regardais. Tu regardais quoi? Oh, non, ce n'est rien. Qu'est-ce que tu disais? Qu'il est déjà 18h. Tu ne veux pas sortir, faire une pause?
So again, from that, we can, even though that context might not have been a familiar one that we have participated in, we can see that Claire was distracted by the man. She didn't hear what Abiel was saying, and so we can kind of get that, Abiel was trying to tell her something, and she said, "Pardon, je regardais," and that looks kind of like the verb. It's a past tense, but it looks kind of like that verb regarder, I was looking at. And then she says, well, what were you looking at? So again, using those contexts to try and make hypotheses about what's going on. So here we can see she says, "Tu veux pas sortir faire une pause?" And maybe we only know that this looks like a pause, but if she's talking about time with heure, which we'll see, then she's probably talking about taking a break.
Ça va? Oui, ce n'est pas grand-chose, mais je pensais avoir vu quelqu'un.
So she says, I thought I saw someone. He was there, près de la sortie. So this is another kind of preposition, près de, near the exit.
Il était là, près de la sortie.
D'accord. Bon, so that concludes our first guided viewing of the video. And again, it helps to watch it a couple of times as you're doing the exercises so that you can really get a little bit more detail. You want to get a little bit more detailed every time you view it.